talk about analysis and analyzing the data and understanding the data. Well, this is what I'm about to describe is a common challenge that oftentimes data teams are asked to solve, which is taking raw data and modeling it in a way that is consistent. So the way we calculate win rate should be exactly the same way every single time. The way that we calculate, coverage ratios and pipeline and all of those sorts of things should be the same all the time. A lot of times, folks will turn to like Looker with LookML or layers in dbt or something like that. The challenge with all that, and that's all great, is that you're now pulling the expertise that is defining those metrics further away from the people who actually understand the nuance behind all of those metrics and the people who are incentivized to maintain it all. So what we've done here is rather than outsource that to the data team, we have a custom object in Salesforce called the goal object, which started as a way for us to understand what everybody's goals were. So you're an SDR, you've been here for 10 months, there's 10 rows in the goal object. Your name next to each row, and every single month that you've been here, it's got the number of sales qualified opportunities you're supposed to deliver. I built this a long time ago because at every company I've ever worked for, one area of very bad data has always actually been about the rep roster. So who's on what team? What quota do they have? What manager do they work for? What role were they in? Oftentimes we know what that looks like right now, but we actually care most for analysis about understanding what that looks like going back into history. So I built it myself, which was to map all of that stuff out. And then what this object became over time was bigger than that, because if you had the goals on a single object for every single month period, you also could figure out the actuals. You could figure out performance. You could figure out how people were trending. And you could build a whole bunch of basic transformations on that data that allow you to very quickly get to answers of common questions that folks ask and then make that self-service. So people knock Salesforce reporting as an example, and they should because it's pretty lousy. But at the end of the day, it's just a easy way to pull records out of a database and kind of visualize them. So if you do a little bit of the modeling ahead of time, Salesforce reporting can actually be quite powerful. So as an example, our goal object has all of the things that I just described. So if we pull a very quick query of our goal object, right, we can see here, this is exactly what I was saying. For a given rep, and I've anonymized this data, so this is all the same rep. I know for this month, this period, so this was May, what was their ramp percentage? What was that number month that they were in seat in that role? What team, sub-team, level, segment, territory did they support? And then I've got their goals. So this was this particular rep's ARR goal, the number of sales qualified opportunities that they needed to produce, and so on and so forth. Now, if you go into the query here and you look, millions of transformations are available. So I can look at their sales qualified opportunities quarter to date. I can look at them half to date. I can look at them year to date. I can do all of these things. You can see deal counts are available, average deal size, all of these permutations that are all things that you might ask. Now, this is really great raw data to have access to, and this is 100% automated. But it turns into nice looking reports that look like this, that are easily viewable in Salesforce and are very exec friendly. So revenue pacing, you can see folks' goals, etc. This is for an AE team. This is for an SDR team that we have, right? How many sales qualified opportunities that are there. So this stuff is what actually allows us to answer questions really quickly. And then having the folks on my team be literate in SOCL, which is the Salesforce query language, they can hook this stuff up to spreadsheets real fast. And so I remember when the world started turning sideways about a year ago and all of the macroeconomic contagion started, we, like many businesses, said, hold the phone, we got to figure out what's going on here. And so also, we, like many businesses, had our BizOps team do a full-on analysis to figure out what was going on. And I delivered this goal object to the BizOps team. And they were able to produce something like a 300-page analysis and a look back in about 48 hours using this data, because it was just easy and clean. And it had every roll up that they needed. And they just threw it into charts, reviewed it, And we've actually been able to rinse and repeat that. Now, it's a lot of pages, and we've since gotten it down to about 70 that matter. But the reality is that's where the value in clean data is. Because if you had asked somebody to go on a fact-finding mission in some of the other organizations that don't have this sorts of thing, that would have been a month-and-a-half long exercise. It would have been multi-part, lots of folks cleaning and scrubbing and standing it all up. And then to do it again the next quarter would have been really hard. So those are the hidden ways that clean data really accelerates the business.
You've talked a lot about, the value of these things to management and to the leadership team in making decisions and being able to very quickly get analysis done that is going to drive some of these decisions. But why should reps care? Or should they? Does that even matter?
I think at the end of the day, reps probably shouldn't necessarily care about the clean data. If you get this right, they shouldn't have to worry about it. They should be doing their jobs, entering the information that makes sense to them about the deal. So things like MedPick and deal strategy and all of those sorts of things, which they care about entering because their managers will ask them about it, will ask them about what's going on with the deal, and they will care about entering that information if they're a bit more senior and have an account team that they're working with because they want to work well with others. So if they're collaborative folks, they're gonna care about that sort of stuff. Reps absolutely should not care about how your bookings come together. They shouldn't care about attribution. They shouldn't care about any of the esoteric things that do drive a lot of the decision making, which is why, in my view, a revenue operations systems team's efforts need to go towards only interfacing with the reps to ask them the plain text questions that they absolutely need to ask them in order to make those decisions, and then have everything else automated and automatically categorized by the system. However, if you want to get a little bit more meta about this, reps should care about management decision making because, and this is what I tell my reps when they ask these questions, this is how I get you more money. This is how I get our quotas lowered when times are tough. This is how I make the case that our ASPs are increasing and our deal velocities are increasing. And that means that we can support higher OTEs and we're producing more and like all of these sorts of things, which they do care about. Or as an example, hey, if we have really good data about professional services and how it's working with our subscription business, that might give me the ability to go to finance and argue that you should be making a small bounty on every professional services deal that we sell. There's that sort of thing that they do care about those things. So if you can link clean data back to their pay, to their day-to-day experience, then you definitely get folks caring about it.